welcome in our driver analyst, Davey Hamilton. And Davey, little by little, day by day, we didn't think this would all ever get here. A really outstanding weekend for the Angie's List Grand Prix. Pretty solid week of practice. Again, weather disrupting the flow a little bit, but next couple of days could be awfully interesting in terms of setting the field at 33.
It's going to be fun to watch. Things, earlier this year we said Chevrolet, right, dominating the races and the qualifying order and the races previous to the Indy 500 or the Indy 500 qualifying. Honda, I don't know if they're great poker players, chess players, or what it is, but they've definitely have their guns loaded, and it's going to be exciting to see what they really have. I mean, they're fast right now.
Interesting. An interview I did last night, as a matter of fact. I was asked, okay, so who's sandbagging? Davey, I've not been in the inner workings to the extent that you have as an owner and a driver, but quite frankly, with everything at stake and the financial investment and commitment that's involved in all of this race, I don't know that anyone, Chevy or Honda, can afford to quote-unquote sandbag, can they?
There's no sandbagging. Let me just tell you, yesterday and the day before, so what happens yesterday, Mark, they give the extra boost for qualifying just to give extra speed, to create some excitement, to get over that 230-mile-an-hour mark, which they've done. That's it. That's what they gave you. You had it yesterday. That you need to know what you have. On Thursday, they gave us race sim boost, and so we kind of knew what we had for the race. Well, it's no secrets. Honda's been at the top of the charts every time,
yeah.
and I give them credit. I have a strategy of what happened and how they went about it, and it's hats off to some smart people, kind of maybe pulling the wool over maybe the league's eyes just a little bit, and some of the guys doing the rules.
At the end of the day, it's good for competition.
As long as it's competition.
Yeah.
As long as it's competition.
Right.
I think the best race that I don't know if we'll ever see one as good as the DW12 when it first came out. We had 85 lead changes at the start-finish lines, mind you, not counting the ones that happen anywhere else.
The way some series do it.
And right, exactly. And so pretty amazing. And you didn't know if a Honda was going to win. You didn't know if a Chevrolet was going to win. You didn't know who was going to lead the next lap. The most exciting race that I've ever seen, and hopefully we'll get back to that. It's a crazy month. You hear so much, but right now I have to say, as far as the way the cars work in the draft, how much aero balance changes, it's a lot of technical things I could go through on how the car changes in a tow, how it reacts on its own, but really today it's all about qualifying.
Best in the business will be with us today to take you front and center on pit road. Among them, Michael Young and Jake Query for the first part. Rossi, Kanaan, Power, Lazier, Tagliani, Hildebrand, and Matthew Brabham. I guess we've got about 10 cars posted, a couple of yet to clear timing and scoring. Chilton, Dugard, and Bourdais. Okay, driver analyst Davey Hamilton, give us the fast way around this 2.5-mile oval.
Well, it's pretty basic. I mean, it's four corners that they say they're identical, but they're really not. So today, it's lift, you lose, man. It's wide open. It's flat to the floor, and you got to get the car as free as you can and use up as little as racetrack as you can. By saying that is, some of these guys are making the short line around here, not going from wall to the apex of the corner back to the wall. If you can cut a little bit of distance out of this racetrack without scuffing speed, it's going to be the fast way around. But we're watching some times. How about Alexander Rossi in that Honda, that Andretti Honda, 230 mile an hour? That's no tow, guaranteed no tow right there. So they're over 230 pretty easily with no tow right now.
Is there a racetrack in the series on the schedule that is more difficult to balance out than this one?
No, you know what changes? I think I can't remember who talked earlier about it, but Ryan Hunter-Reay talked about the conditions here. The conditions change so drastically. You're going so fast, but a cloud cover, a wind change, a temperature change, a track temperature change, things make such a big difference at this particular racetrack where they really don't at some of the other ones. So it's you got to stay on top of the game, but that's why we practice all week. They try to get every bit of information they can and try to match up what they tested with, whether it's ambient temperature, whether it's track temperature, whether it's the wind conditions and what direction it's going. So it's difficult. It changes every time you go out there, it seems like.
And do you feel, for instance, like if the wind is coming out of the south, you'll feel
we got a spin right there.
That's Chilton.
Yep,
Max Chilton lost it, and Davey, that's a very, very tricky part of the racetrack. Looked like it just cut loose in the apex.
Yeah, you see that car. That is, that's an Andretti. I mean, a Ganassi car there, and Chevrolet. They're just trying to. Honda really has these guys covered right now, and I think the Chevrolets are doing all they can to get speed, but to get speed, Mark, that's making the car so unstable. And I think that's what happened. you know, they're trying to trim out so much, and just you lose a little bit of grip, and the balance was just off a little bit for Max Chilton.
He's moving around to the race car. The safety crew is there. We'll recap that incident and have more when we return to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Hi, I'm Mario Andretti. Want to race? Enter the Firestone Race Andretti sweepstakes and race me at simple stuff like peeling an orange. And you can win a VIP weekend to the Indy 500. Follow Firestone Racing on Twitter or go to raceandretti.com. And good luck. You're going to need it.
Whatever you drive, drive a Firestone.
No purchase necessary. Open to legal U.S. residents 18 or older. Void in Hawaii, Alaska, and where prohibited. Subject to official rules at raceandretti.com. Bridgestone America's Tire Operations, LLC, Nashville, Tennessee.
Ah, spring. A time when all of nature's creatures come to life. But wait, what's that? A pothole? And another? Don't wave the white flag just yet. For a suspension that rides as good as new, get tried and true shocks and struts from Monroe at your neighborhood Advance Auto Parts. And get them even faster when you order online and pick them up in store. Advance Auto Parts. Let's get you back to the garage. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
You're listening to Indianapolis 500 qualifying on the Advance Auto Parts Indycar Radio Network.
Every driver in the 500 field will be speeding towards one goal: to meet 2 Indiana dairy farmers at the end of the race. Because they'll have the key ingredient to the most iconic celebration in all of sports, the Victory Circle bottle of milk. Pure, ice-cold goodness worth the drive year after year. Winners drink milk.
Join American Dairy Association Indiana for the world's largest milk toast. 100,000 pints will be distributed to fans at the track. So raise your bottle of milk alongside the Indy 500 champion.
Planes racing by your seat at 265 miles per hour. Pilots withstanding up to 10 G's of force right in front of you. Experience the thrill from closer than ever before. Red Bull Air Race World Championship. Witness the world's ultimate motorsport series at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, October 1st and 2nd. Tickets now on sale. More info at redbullairrace.com.
From the Firestone broadcast booth at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, this is the Verizon IndyCar Series.
Back at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, caution on the course, not for weepers, not for rain. Davey, we're getting a chance right now to look at the number 8 machine of Max Chilton. They're getting ready to put it on the hook. We haven't had a chance to yet see the replay of his single car incident that happened in turn 2. Right below the sweets, but you got a pretty good look at it as it happened.
Yeah, you know, the bottom line is it just turned around. It's back to getting these cars so free, and when the back end came around, it spun so fast that the higher the speeds, the faster they spin, and the later they hit in the corner. And wow, he really hit hard, and I mean directly head on, which is not a good way to hit for sure.
But Davey, we got to look at the front of that car, and I continue to be amazed at the safety enhancements and improvements. I mean, some pretty rock-solid energy-absorbing material in the front of that car. I mean, it took care of that front wing in pretty good shape, but it did a lot to protect Max Chilton.
Oh, without a doubt. Delar does such a fantastic job. Here's a replay right here coming off a turn 1 mark. He pokes down in there, looks good. I mean, I don't even see any correction. He's really in line. Boy, it just takes off so late in that corner. You know, not very far from missing the safer barrier, but man, it turned around, and you'd like to see it hit left rear first and then the left side first, where it absorbs that energy just a little bit better than hitting head on that direct tub. But it got his attention. He has a small little limp, but thank God he got out of the car. He waved to the fans and take him to the med center and get him released. But you can just see it turn so fast, and then it just whips. And then that nose, boy, it's a tough way to hit. But Delar, like I say, they do such a great job with these cars. I mean, I really feel the safest race cars that there is over any open wheel race cars. So,
does that happen in terms of what he feels? Did that happen without warning?
Oh, so what happens with these cars, Mark, and that's the goods and bads. Sometimes if you see other forms of racing, you can see a car get a little sideways, you can correct it. But in these Indy cars, with the downforce that we have, so much downforce, once the car goes into yaw, and that means just off of straight just a little bit, once the back end steps out, you lose thousands or hundreds of pounds of downforce. And once that happens, it just launches you, and you have no time to react.
Can he correct that by looking at video or data or a combination?
It really is. You really can hardly correct that from anything other than the car probably felt really good to him. He didn't felt just balanced and neutral, but it steps out. That's the tricky part about IndyCar racing is once they go, sometimes you have to do it once to really know when that's going to be.
Single car incident involving Max Chilton. Nick Yeoman has made his way back to the infield care center. We hope to talk to Max Chilton and get back to green flag conditions when we return to the world's greatest race course.
Every driver in the 500 field will be speeding towards one goal: to meet two Indiana dairy farmers at the end of the race. Because they'll have the key ingredient to the most iconic celebration in all of sports, the Victory Circle bottle of milk. Pure, ice-cold goodness worth the drive year after year. Winners drink milk.
Join American Dairy Association Indiana for the world's largest milk toast. 100,000 pints will be distributed to fans at the track. So raise your bottle of milk alongside the Indy 500 champion.
Spring. A time when all of nature's creatures come to life. But wait, what's that? A pothole? And another? Don't wave the white flag just yet. For a suspension that rides as good as new, get tried and true shocks and struts from Monroe at your neighborhood Advance Auto Parts. And get them even faster when you order online and pick them up in store. Advance Auto Parts. Let's get you back to the garage. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
You're listening to Indianapolis 500 qualifying on the Advance Auto Parts IndyCar Radio Network.
Want to be a part of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway's Safety Patrol? The IMS Safety Patrol is responsible for the operations of hosting thousands of race fans at the world's greatest raceway. There's a variety of positions available, and wages start at $8 an hour. IMS provides the hat and yellow shirts. You'll be responsible to work 8 to 12-hour shifts. Stop by the IMS Administration Building. Call 317-492-6534 or email guestexperience@brickyard.com to become a member of the IMS Safety Patrol and a part of history.
USAC's The Week of Indy Open Wheel Triple Header starts on Wednesday, May 25th at the Terre Haute Action Track with the USAC National Sprint Cars. Then the stars of the Silver Crown Series race and the famed Hoosier 100 on Thursday, May 26th at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. And don't forget the Silver Crown Carb Night Classic on Friday, May 27th at Lucas Oil Raceway. For more info on USAC's The Week of Indy, visit trackenterprises.com. Terre Haute, Indiana State Fairgrounds, Lucas Oil Raceway. It's USAC's The Week of Indy.
From the Firestone broadcast booth at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, this is the Verizon IndyCar Series.
Well, we continue to move toward the top of the hour. And again, this brief 20-minute session interrupted. Single car incident involving the number 8 of Max Chilton, who had just turned a lap at 228.359 miles per hour. Quickest so far in this abbreviated session, the 98 of rookie Alexander Rossi, his Honda at 231.249. Then it goes Chevy, 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 then a Honda. So Davey Hamilton seeing something we don't often see on ovals, and we've talked about it over the past couple of days. Honda's certainly picked up the pace here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
I really feel they're the guys to beat, and like I said earlier, I don't know if it was how they strategized it or it was a chess game or a poker game or what, but I give Honda a lot of credit for what they were able to pull off and be able to come here to the, one of the most important races ever, and really kind of be dominant at this point.
Boy, I remember I believe it was the first year they came to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Remember, they came with Bobby Rahal.
Yeah, that's right.
And they were so bad that he essentially had to kind of punt, really, and go with a different engine manufacturer midstream. And, it took a while before they came back to open wheel racing. But when they did, I mean, this is a team that's had a lot of – this is a program, I should say, that's had a lot of success, especially in this series.
Yeah, at one point, they were all of our engines were Honda, which as a one-off guy, right, coming to the Speedway, knowing I have to compete against the Ganassis and the Penske's and Andretti's, coming in as a one-off, I always like that, going, you know what, at least my motor's the same as everybody else's. My car is the same as everybody else's. Now it's up to me and my team to try to get the most out of it. Now, I know those guys still had an advantage, but going into it that you had the same piece as everybody else, and you have opportunity to compete.
It's just amazing to me how things change here. Just when Doug Bowles, the president of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, made the announcement over the PA, did you ever think you'd see a day that we'd be running at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway until 7 o'clock in the evening? My goodness.
How about that, right? Well, daylight say, as you said, with the time change here that they did, I don't know how many years ago, but it's kind of allowed that. I remember when the track closed at 6 and the whole front straightaway was shaded, and you can try to, that was a true happy hour. Well, now the happy hour from 5 to 6 of practice days, it's still sunny on the whole track, so it really doesn't gain any speed. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, no question. And again, 2 days of qualifying, and Davey, among the changes that I think the one that has been I think most positive and most well received. It's been several years now that Carb Day was moved to Friday. The Freedom 100 is run on that day. In addition to the pit stop competition, it's the second biggest day of the month.
Oh, well, second biggest day, and sometimes you almost say in sports a little bit. I mean,
That's
there's
right.
so many people that come here, well over 100,000, which any football or baseball team can't hold that many people, right? We have fantastic concerts. You get to see a race. You get to see the final hour of these guys out on the racetrack before the Indy 500. You can see pit stop competitions. It's just a lot of fun. It's just a lot of fun. And they got Max Chilton's accident cleaned up, Mark, and they're back to green again.
Yep, cleanup is complete, and we are back to green flag racing. Davey, obviously the significance around the 100th Indianapolis 500. People have speculated to me in the interviews that I've done, okay, what would be a great story? And while certainly Hinch would be a great story with the injuries that he suffered here a year ago, Elio winning his 4th, Americans like Newgarden, Ray Hall, certainly Marco Andretti. But let's face it, anytime you win the Indianapolis 500, it's a great story.
It's a great story. I could go down through every one of these. I mean, is it a female driver? Is it Gabby Chavez who didn't have a ride? Doesn't have a ride this year and just got a ride a few weeks ago? And a Del Coyne car, by the way, that hasn't had great finishes here, but it's been here for a long, long time. Is it Penske getting his, what would it be, 16th? I mean, there's stories all up and down this line for sure. And like I say, Marco Andretti, all the Andrettis, as much success and big as that name is, there's only one 500 win amongst the Andretti family right now. So
some of the names we mentioned earlier, and you can certainly speak to this, nothing like winning it for sure. But I remember, I believe it was 97, watching Steve Kinzer pace nervously before he got in the race car. Jack Hewitt, seeing him pull the helmet off and the tears in his eyes after he is qualified for the Indianapolis 500. From a career standpoint, certainly you want to win it, but how huge is it just simply to qualify for the 500?
It's gigantic. Coming from Idaho and wanting to be an IndyCar racer, I thought, man, if I could just possibly make one Indianapolis 500, my career is really set. And I really believe that, and that was a goal of mine. But I've been very fortunate to go way beyond just one Indy 500 and to get that. But for those guys, they're able to say that they were in the Indianapolis 500 that one time. It's a huge, and I'll guarantee if you ask them their highlights, they have some great. Jack Hewitt did one of the most amazing things of any racer ever, and that's winning the 4 crown at Eldora the same weekend, all 4 divisions. That is
pretty impressive.
The most underrated accomplishment ever in sports, I think, that what he really did. But him starting this race and running the Indy 500 is also went right up on his list.
So which meant more to you, or were they pretty equal in terms of their significance? The first time you qualified, or the first time back after so many years off with your injuries?
Wow, that was emotionally after the injuries, just because the welcome that I had back.
That was cool.
And just how the teams and the fans really welcomed me. That emotionally was by far for me. I couldn't have come out any one of those days without tears in my eyes, just from what the fans and the people and how they greeted me back. But that first time around this racetrack and actually qualifying for this race there was tears of joy that I tried to hide as I got that checkered flag and I knew it was in this race. You can't ever match that.
Yep, and that was certainly a day that all of us that were a part of it and sharing that with you, of course, after so many years you had worked with us as a driver analyst, that was a joy that we certainly shared. Someone's life is going to change, whether they've already won this race or not. If they're a repeat winner or a first-time winner, there is absolutely no question about the fact it will most assuredly be a life-changing experience, and we're thrilled to have the opportunity to bring it all to you. Speeds continue to quicken a bit, as does the pace and the number of takers. Rossi, Kanaan, Castro Neves, Power, Newgarden, your top 5. They range from 231.249 to 229.674. Max Chilton, 6th quick, but he's at the infield care center. Appears to be okay. He's at 228.359. Brabham, 7th quick at 226.479. Then Sebastian Bourdais at 225.342. Buddy Lazier, 9th quick in the 4 machine. His Chevrolet at 225.130. 10th quick, Alex Tagliani with a speed of 223.876. And J.R. Hildebrand still putting his car through the paces, trying to get up to speed at 215.303 miles per hour. Qualifying for the Indianapolis 500 is brought to you in part by Firestone, the official tire of the Verizon Indycar Series. Whatever you drive, drive a Firestone. Advance Auto Parts presenting Speed Perks, a simple rewards program for guys who love getting under the hood. Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote. The American Dairy Association, winners drink milk. Chevrolet, find new roads. Miller Lite, the official beer of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Safety Clean, official environmental service company of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Racing Electronics, in-car race communications provided by Racing Electronics. Sunoco, official fuel and convenience store of the 500. Prime Sport, the official fan travel partner of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. By Panasonic Adventure, gear as tough as you are. The Indy Racing Experience, the fastest seat in sports. Hinchman Racing Uniforms, nothing fits like a Hinchman. And by Verizon, the official technology partner and provider of the Verizon IndyCar Series. The network general manager is Wally Levitt, master control by Chris Pollock, production assistance by Paul Levitt. RF operations by Norm Birnbaum. The chief engineer is Rick Evans. I'm Mark Janes, inviting you to join us at 4:30 Eastern for more qualifying of the 120 of the Indianapolis 500. This program is copyrighted by the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Radio Network. Welcome back to the world's greatest race course, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, or welcome to the world's greatest race course. If you're joining us for the first time today, I am Mark Janes, happy to be joined by our driver analyst, Davey Hamilton, the historian of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Donald Davidson, here as well. And Davey, we hope good things come to those who wait. We were supposed to start practicing around 8 o'clock this morning, but cars have only been on the track now for about 15 to 20 minutes or so, and already an incident involving Max Chilton. But we certainly anticipate activity picking up throughout the course of the rest of this day.
Yeah, we see Scott Dixon out on track right now for his first time. He had a warm-up lap mark of 225 miles an hour, which is way off the pace from that Honda of Rossi. 229 to warm up, and then he finally made a lap at 231. So it's going to be an interesting day. The track's dry, the cars are out there, and it's speed day.
We welcome, of course, the historian of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Donald Davidson, and one of the newest Sagamores of the Wabash, an honor bestowed upon Donald yesterday. And Donald, certainly alterations to this qualifying format, and I guess over the years this is certainly something that we've had to oftentimes adjust on the fly, because boy, you just never know what Mother Nature's going to do to the best laid plans.
I don't know how many times we were out here for qualifications in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s.
Yeah.
And it seemed like there was always weather interfering with the program, which has changed quite a bit in recent years. But I haven't talked to any drivers recently, but when it was the up to 3 attempts, but only one checkered flag, and then that was your time. There was no coming back and doing it again unless you did it with another car, just a completely different situation. But I know a lot of drivers over the years used to say that qualifying for the Indianapolis 500 was the most excruciating thing that they went through, and I found that very interesting, especially when the first of several new formats was introduced a few years ago that was going to require multiple attempts. And I thought, if that is still true of the drivers, is that going to lessen the drama because of the fact that there was a format where they would be qualifying, they could make up to 12 completed attempts under when we were still on the 2-weekend 4-day format a few years ago. But I know a lot of drivers said, I hate to qualify. It's the worst thing I go through. And I'm interested in what Davey Hamilton may have to say about that. But before I get there, if I just have a moment, I found it very interesting that some of like Tom Sneaver, for instance, would say, we don't have to be running as fast as this to put on a good show. But then he would go out and win the pole. So it wasn't like he was somebody that didn't want to go fast. But on a lighter note, I did have a driver confide with me one time, and this was somebody who had won the pole, and I won't identify him any further than that. And we had gone to a talk in Rushville, and we were driving home, and it was probably about 11 o'clock at night. And I asked him that question. I said, some drivers have said that qualifying for the 500, they're glad they only have to do it once a year, and it's the most excruciating thing they go through. I said, is it the most excruciating thing for you? He said, no, it's the sponsor dinner the night before the race. When he said, I like to be in bed by 9 o'clock and I have to sit with the CEO and his wife, and she's asking all these questions about, and so how did you get started in motor racing? And does your wife worry about you when you're out there and all that kind of thing? But anyway, I went, now it seems that obviously the pressure's on, and everything has to be 10/10 and 100% concentration and so precise. I wonder what it is like for the drivers now when they do it today and then come back again and do it tomorrow.
Well, as a driver, Don, it's the same thing as when I went out there, and it is tough. I mean, you are more nervous, I think, for the qualifying than the race. And I wanted to do it one time because I didn't want to continue doing it, because that's when you're over the edge. You know, you're hanging on, and I mean, it's not a game. You know what I mean? It was just not a game, and you're out there putting it on the line for everybody involved with your team. And then when they said, well, we're going to make that you go out 3 different times and try all this, I wasn't a big fan of it personally, because I know I would lay everything, all my cards on the table and go for it, and know how important it was to make that one run so good. Not say, oh, whoops, I messed up that lap, I go do it again, or I messed up this, or hey, you know, we just went out, we trimmed it out a little bit more, I'm still comfortable, you know what I mean? So it was so much more pressure, I think, when you only had one shot at it.
Rossi, Kanaan, Castro-Neves, Power, and Newgarden, your top 5.
Apparently there were some drivers that actually they would be quivering. I won't name any names, but there were some drivers that right before they went out, they would actually be quivering. And I know, you know, one driver said, he said, if you notice, and this is back under the old format, he said, if you notice, I qualify once. I don't do incomplete attempts. And I even remember there was somebody over the PA one time after they made it, and they said, thank God we only have to do this once a year.
Yeah.
And so when that first, when the new format was first suggested, and that it would be potentially possible for somebody to make 12 attempts, 3 per day over 4 days. And I remember, why would you put drivers through that when they really only want to do it once? But I would have to say, though, that for the last 2 years at least, now weather's interfered. Last year, I don't think there was any interference with weather. In fact, I know there wasn't. It was clean last year and the year before, and I found it to be very entertaining. But that's the difference between sitting in an air-conditioned booth with a box lunch watching it and being out there doing it.
Well, Scott Dixon satisfied with his paces. 6th quick. That's on the toe strap going back to Gasoline Alley. Same for Elio Castro-Neves, who is P3. A driver who is a P8, but found the turn 2 wall is Max Chilton. Nick Yeoman has caught up with him.
Mark Janes, he is out of the Indiana University Health Medical Center. Max, first walk us through what exactly happened.
It all happened pretty quickly. I was on my first green flag lap, I think it was, if I can remember correctly, and I went through 2. The front was the best it's ever been, but now I don't have much oval experience, and you always try to have a car, a bit of understeering. I now know that I just had too much front, and before I had even time to react, you lost the rear. So yeah, disappointing way to start the day, but that's what happens when you get one practice before qualifying.
You mentioned not a lot of oval experience. Does this hit compared to anything that you've had in motorsports?
That's the biggest impact I've ever had, for sure. Touch wood, I'm usually sort of shunt free, so it's a frustrating way to start.
I'm glad to see you're okay. That is Max Chilton. He will race again, but so far Mark Janes, his day off to a very rough start, but as he said, biggest he's ever experienced. Glad to see he's all right.
Yeah, he's not shunt free anymore, Dave.
Not shunt free, and that's back to what we talked about when it happened is, and you asked me, Mark, how do you know and how do you react to that? And sometimes it is you have to experience it. just as he said, he never experienced. The front was so good, meaning that it turned really nice. The front end wasn't sliding. It wasn't going up the track. It turned really good. So he thought that was a good thing. And next thing you know, the back end's turned around. Well, now he knows that, Mark. See, sometimes it takes that. Sometimes you get lucky and just have the car step out and you save it. But unfortunately, in Max's case, he hit very, very hard. And so, but he knows if that front end feels that heavy and that hard and it's steering that good, that the back end may come around.
Well, again, Rossi continues P1, 231.249. Some of the drivers in that first session making their way back. Those we've seen out of late include Graham Rahal, Ryan Hunter-Ray, and Juan Montoya. We get closer and closer to qualifying for the 100th running of the Indianapolis 500 here at the world's greatest race course.
Andreas has the perfect plants for your landscape. Trees, shrubs, and perennials are 20% off. Andreas Garden Center at 65th and Binford is a proud supplier of Greendale mulch.
Two typical kids.
Happy birthday, buddy.
A bulldozer, awesome.
Happy birthday, sweetie.
A doctor's kit.
Each with a dream of someday becoming a successful adult, neither knowing the other until your distraction put them together.
Okay, what do we have?
We have a flagger hit while directing traffic in the cone zone, multiple injuries, severe trauma.
Don't make being late or your distraction someone else's problem. The workers in the cone zone put their lives on the line every day. Let's help get them home safely. Everyone should have dreams. Let's not turn them into a nightmare.
This is Ward Daniels, business manager of Labor's Local 120. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down, open your eyes, pay attention.
This wake-up call was paid for by Laborers International Union of North America, affiliated locals and contractors.
Breast care navigation at Community is a lot like sailing. Our navigators have to read the wind without seeing the wind. They're there for every question, every worry, every crosswind. Whether it's to help explain terminology, tell you what to expect, or just hear your concerns. Your Community Breast Care Navigator is a single point of contact for both you and your caregivers. A reassuring hand on the rudder. No one wants to go through cancer, and no one wants to go through it alone. It's why we embrace the entire navigation concept. We're your weather vane, pointing you towards calmer seas and brighter skies. Community Health Network. Exceptional care, simply delivered. Learn more at ecommunity.com/navigator.
State leaders are calling for expansion of educational paths outside the traditional college model to help move Indiana forward. The Indiana Union construction industry has been the leader in apprenticeship and vocational training for over 100 years. In partnership with contractors, our industry makes an investment of more than $42 million a year in training, with no cost to taxpayers. Through on-the-job training and classroom instruction, our tradesmen and women learn skills and earn degrees, making them the skilled, drug-free workforce employers count on, and the best value for your next construction project. The Indiana Union construction industry. Value on display every day.
Hi, I'm Brian Fisher, business agent of UA Local 669 Sprinkler Fitters. This message has been brought to you by the proud members of Road Sprinkler Fitters Local 669, protecting your home, schools, workplace, and property since 1915. The proud members of Road Sprinkler Fitters Local 669.
This is Bill Estes with Tony Kanaan.
Hi, Bill.
Tony, it's the 100th running of the Indy 500. The first one was back in 1911.
I know, Bill. Have you seen them all?
Real funny, Tony. Tell them what we're doing to celebrate.
0% for 60 months or $298 a month on a new Ford Escape and $11,000 off on the new Ford trucks.
$298 a month on a new Ford Escape or $11,000 off F-150s? Can we do that?
Bill, it's a celebration of BUS's Ford.
Right now, purchase a set of 4 eligible Firestone tires and get a $60 Firestone Visa prepaid card by mail. Plus, use your new or existing CFNA credit card account and you can get up to $90.
Offer valid through July 4th. Card expires. Card issued by the Bancorp Bank, member FDIC, under license from Visa USA Inc. Can be used everywhere Visa debit is accepted. Get up to $90 when you use your new or existing CFNA credit card account. See participating retailers for details, subject to credit approval.
Indy Tire and Auto Service. Expert service and lowest tire prices guaranteed.
Let's play a game. We're thinking of a number between 1 and 100. Got it? The number is... Actually, it doesn't matter what the number is. It's just luck, which is a great thing to have when you need it. But at the end of the day, luck isn't something you can rely on. Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance is. So talk to them today and ask about affordable renter's insurance or visit infarmbureau.com for an instant quote. Because when it comes to your coverage, luck should have nothing to do with it. By the way, the answer was 92. Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance. Stop knocking on wood.
Hey, it's Big Joe, and as you're racing around this month, make a pit stop at Tom Roush Mazda. Check out the huge selection available at Indiana's largest Mazda dealer, like brand new Mazda 3s starting at just $119 a month. Mazda 6 is $129 a month, CX-5 is $159 a month, and summer is a ton more fun in a Mazda Miata. Plus, 0% financing is available on purchases, and Tom Roush has a great selection of used cars, too. They're pussycats on price at Tom Roush Mazda, 169th Street and US 31 in Westfield.
The Colts schedule is out, and BullseyeEventGroup.com has your tickets to all the games. The VIP tailgate is back with amazing food from Morton Steakhouse, premium beer, and top-shelf drinks. Call 299-4444 and get your Colts tickets now.
Qualification Day coverage on 93.5 and 1070 The Fan is brought to you by the Indiana Union Construction Industry. Value on display every day.
21 cars have gone through the paces in an abbreviated practice session. Let's start hearing from some of the drivers preparing to qualify for the 100th running of the Indianapolis 500-mile race. We start first by welcoming in Michael Young.
One of the drivers that just finished up with that practice session, the preferred freezer fuzzy vodka driver, that car number 6, Jared Hildebrand. How's that car?
We're doing a little work. We tried to actually just get in a few runs there. We knew it wasn't in the window that we were looking for, and we knew we didn't have much time, so we didn't really set a representative lap. But yeah, conditions today definitely aren't as good as they were yesterday, and you know, with how sort of complex the aero on these cars has gotten, you know, it takes a little bit of effort to sort it out. So we're trying to give ourselves enough time to make a solid run out this afternoon.
With this new aero kit for you, just doing this race, the difference between the kits?
You know, I mean, honestly, none of these guys have been on the new kit this year. You know, we're all kind of in a similar boat, really. You know, so that for me personally is not that significant of an adjustment relative to the other guys. But you know, I mean, we were sitting here talking earlier, like, you know, with how much stuff there is to go through. You know, so you almost need a couple more days of practice like we used to have. So, you know, we'll see how it all sort of shakes out here. You know, these guys get these. We're in the engineering room here. These guys get paid the big bucks to sort all this stuff out for us, and you know, hopefully we can get it right for this afternoon.
Interesting. I saw on Instagram a couple of weeks back, or a week or so ago, you and Ed and Joseph were in a big freezer for preferred freezers. What in the world was going on there?
We were in a giant freezer. They are just giant freezers. I think like something crazy. Like 70% of seafood that gets frozen in the United States goes through one of preferred freezers. You know, I mean, they are like these just enormous. Some of them are automated. It's like this giant robotic, you know, warehouse basically. But they're actually really cool and interesting. The standard freezers I think are like between 5 and 10 below zero. But then they had the one that you probably saw was they have a sushi grade tuna freezer that is like 80 below zero, and it is just like. You walk inside and your nostril hairs and your eyebrows like just immediately get frozen. You know, like it's kind of insane. They say if you get people standing in there for long enough, just from their breath creating humidity in the room, like you get its own little weather pattern like in the room itself. So, but it's fun. It's cool to be able to check out and see what your sponsors really do.
One last thing, and speaking of cool, you'll love this transition. The owner, Ed Carpenter, has jeans and a nice dress shirt on. He didn't even put a fire suit on. He must feel pretty confident. Either that or he lets you two guys do the work.
I think he's just letting the youngins go out there and test it out for him. So, you know, I think he probably had an inkling, as we did, that maybe it wasn't going to be quite as straightforward this morning. But, no, I mean, you know, I'm looking over here jealous. So I think he made the right call, and hopefully we can all benefit from it.
Best of luck the rest of the day.
Thank you.
Driver of that Preferred Freezers Fuzzy Vodka number 6 Chevrolet. That's J.R. Hildebrand. Jake Query.
The driver of another Chevrolet, that of the PureTech Fluid Transfer Solutions, car number 61, Matthew Brabham. And Matthew, I was watching here. You were like a runway model, taking enough pictures to last a lifetime with members of the military that were in here visiting. I saw you signing a lot of autographs, but it's go time as well. What's going through your mind right now?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a big day today and tomorrow. You know, we've got to make sure we get, you know, on the grid today, and obviously make sure we have a good starting position for the race tomorrow. So we're just working hard and going through a lot of things, a lot of data, and you know, I'm just trying to stay loose, calm, and relaxed, and take it as it comes.
I saw one guy come up to you and said, hey, I met your grandfather at the vintage car race, and I got his signature. You know, you hear a lot of that. You know the legacy of what the last name means. Is that a blessing, or is at the same time, is there a little bit of pressure that comes with that at times you'd like to stay below?
I think it's more of a blessing than anything. I think it's pretty cool to have those guys coming up to me, those like true long-term fans of motorsport, knowing the history and coming up to me and sharing stories about how the one time they met my grandfather, they met him or my dad as well. So, you know, I think it's pretty cool to be a part of that, and I don't think it adds any extra pressure. I mean, my family's very supportive and they understand motor racing, and at the end of the day, I'm just paving my own career at the moment, and there's no extra pressure to do as well as they did, or you know, do better. So you know, just taking it and having fun.
PureTech on the side pod here. Good looking race car, blue with that yellow type for PureTech. You told me you visited with those folks here in Indianapolis, right? Tell me about the company.
Yeah, so obviously you know, when we found out that PureTech was going to be joining us as a partner, and it all came together and our deal materialized, you know, I wanted to come down and meet the guys that work locally here in Indiana. I grew up watching Marcus Ambrose in Australia race V8 supercars at PureTech. I've seen the British touring cars at PureTech all over them, and I always thought they were the best looking liveries, and Crusher got all connected up with that, and you know, they're basically just a fluid transfer company that has mobile new units, and they're stationed all around America, and they basically just service hydraulic cables and lines, especially on construction sites is where they kind of focus. And I mean, yeah, I mean, we have one of the best liveries in the field, and I've had lots of people come up to me and tell me how cool the car looks, and it's just great to be a part of that.
So we know obviously the car looks like it's going to purr with PureTech. How did the car feel though this morning?
Yeah, it felt okay. I mean, obviously this morning was more about just bedding things in and feeling comfortable and just kind of making sure everything's running right. We'll you know, go out in qualifying and stick it on the line and give everything we got for that. But this morning, you know, with the conditions, waiting for the track to dry, it was just smarter for us to just go out, get a feel for things, not go flat out, and just settle in.
Best of luck. Be safe.
Thank you. Cheers.
Guys, there's a lot of rookies here. Of course, we saw Max Chilton. The frustrations of a rookie day. Matthew Brabham hoping it's a clean one here in that car number 61.
Again, Rossi P1 after this first group completed their practice session. Ryan Hunter-Reay, Tony Kanaan, Castro Neves, Will Power, Newgarden, Montoya, Dixon, Ray Hall, and Piggott. The top 10 qualifying, by the way, now set for 2:20 this afternoon. Max Chilton, as we mentioned, the lone incident of the day, hit the wall at turn number 2. He was okay. Don't know if he'll get a chance to qualify today. Charlie Kimball, 12 quick. Sato, Karam, Brabham, Hawksworth, Wilson, Bourdais, Lazier, Alex Tagliani, then J.R. Hildebrand. The two top speeds. Rossi and Ryan Hunter-Reay, 231.249 for the 98 machine. The 28 turned a lap at 231.107. If you're wondering who might be in group number 2, didn't hear a time and speed posted by your favorite driver, Takuma Sato, Townsend Bell, Gabby Chavez, Spencer Piggott, Charlie Kimball, Ryan Hunter-Reay, Stephen Wilson, Jack Hawksworth, Juan Montoya, James Hinchcliffe, Carlos Munoz, Sage Karam, Pippa Mann, Ed Carpenter, Connor Daly, and Graham Rahal. Okay, Davey, you've completed that first practice session. Maybe you find yourself 12th or 13th quick. How much can you do to the race car? What's the mindset? Who all gets consulted in terms of making changes to that race car in hopes of finding speeds when we go qualifying?
Well, what I see so far is if you're a Chevrolet guy, how do I get a Honda really quick? That's the first thing that I see. So after that is, yeah, you're just trying to figure out more speed. I mean, and if you look at the charts who went out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's like 6 Hondas or 7 Hondas that went out. That's it. Almost all the Chevrolets went out just because of that's who's struggling. They're the ones struggling to find speed. Honda guys are all back in the garage just waiting to get that line going and show what they got for qualifying. So and out of the Hondas, the few Hondas that went out, they're P1 and P2 with Rossi and Hunter Ray. So that Andretti stable's looking good. But the rest of these guys, if you're a Chevrolet team, you're scrambling right now just to find that speed.
Well, we don't anticipate any more rain, either this afternoon or tonight. But again, this is the great state of Indiana. Things could change rapidly. We expect, in fact, conditions to be a bit warmer and a bit more sunshine tomorrow. Can you be fast today, show up tomorrow, and the conditions and track conditions have changed to the point to where maybe you're not as good tomorrow as you were today?
You're gonna be fairly consistent. Once you have a decent car, you are consistent. But saying that is, weather conditions do change and change the set of the race car, so it could happen. I mean, I expect that this is a good day, really. I'm looking at the wind, not much. I'm looking at the flags around here. It's overcasty, which I've always liked. It's a little bit cool. I mean, it's really a good day for speed right now. Tomorrow's supposed to be a little bit warmer. The warmer it gets, the less speed we usually get out of these cars. So I think today's a good day to put it down. Got to remember, they all got to come back and do it tomorrow. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all works out.
Davey, let's face it, when we're on a road and street circuit, tire management is key throughout the course of the weekend. It affects how many laps you run, how much time you spend practicing. Certainly has an impact on qualifying. Is tire management a key when with practice and qualifying and preparing for the race on an oval?
Yeah, not really. Not so much here because they allow you so many sets of tires that you really have the opportunity. And what happened the other day with a rain day, your allotment of tires, once you have one rain day, your allotment's actually usually really good, unless you're continuing to go out and try to make more qualifying attempts one after the other. But with the delay today, with rain on Tuesday, I really feel that no tire management here whatsoever.
And so that mindset, let's face it, if you're a fan and you're kind of on the fence as to whether or not you come out here, then I believe the next 2 days is going to be premium days in terms of track activity.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think once we get qualifying here about an hour, we're just a little under an hour, I should say, and the qualifying line starts happening. We got a lot of people in the grandstands today, which is great. And I think once that line breaks, it's going to be cars on a racetrack trying to find an additional speed, especially those guys 20 back.
Again, 2:20, a little less than an hour from now, we expect to go qualifying in preparation for the 100th running of the Indianapolis 500.
Find everything Indy 500 from our appearances, live broadcast, and the race itself. It's all online when you log on to IndySportsCenter.com.
Dreyer and Reinbold BMW invites you to come drive the 2016 BMW X3 and BMW 535 X-Drive. You can lease the new 2016 BMW X3 X-Drive 28i for only $449 a month with only $3,000 down, or the 2016 BMW 535i X-Drive for only $599 a month with only $3,500 down. These BMWs come with intelligent all-wheel drive, automatic transmission, along with a fuel-efficient twin-power turbo engine. Lease is based on 36 months, 10,000 miles per year with preferred credit. Taxes and fees due at lease signing. All incentives included in lease pricing. See dealer for details. Visit us for a test drive and see for yourself. Lease either the new 2016 BMW X3 X-Drive 28i for only $449 a month, or the 2016 BMW 535i X-Drive for just $599 a month. At Dreyer and Reinbold BMW, located on the north side at I-465 in Keystone, on the south side at US 31 in Greenwood, and at DryerReinboldBMW.com. State leaders are calling for expansion of educational paths outside the traditional college model to help move Indiana forward. The Indiana union construction industry has been the leader in apprenticeship and vocational training for over 100 years. In partnership with contractors, our industry makes an investment of more than $42 million a year in training with no cost to taxpayers. Through on-the-job training and classroom instruction, our tradesmen and women learn skills and earn degrees, making them the skilled, drug-free workforce employers count on, and the best value for your next construction project. The Indiana union construction industry. Value on display every day.
This is Jeremy Cromer, business representative for the International Union of Painters and Allied Trades, District Council 91. Employed by contractors throughout Indiana, Illinois, Kentucky, and Tennessee, our members proudly service the glazing, drywall finishing, sign and display, and commercial and industrial painting industries. Visit us at IUPATDC91.com. Painters and Allied Trades, skilled on principle, union by choice.
When you first hear the 4 words, exceptional care, simply delivered, They seem like, well, like just 4 words, but Community Health Network gives them a much deeper meaning. If you've had cancer, or a heart scare, or a chronic illness, or kids, or aging parents, you quickly realize those 4 words, exceptional care, simply delivered, are music to your ears. At Community, it isn't just our slogan, it's our signature, our reason for being. It's why we get up early and go home late. You see, it's much more than the way we work. It's the very reason we come to work, to keep you healthy. Of course, if you ever do get sick, we'd like to have a word with you. Actually, 4 of them. Community Health Network. Exceptional care, simply delivered. Learn more at ecommunity.com.
This is Scott Dixon, driver of the number 9 Target Indycar. I'm here with Elliot Cox, kart racer and dyslexia advocate like my friend Justin Wilson.
Just like Justin, my dyslexia doesn't stop me on the track and at school.
Celebrate Justin's life with commemorative socks made by USWAG, Justin's very own company.
They look like Justin's helmet and are extra special because the proceeds benefit the smart, hardworking kids at the Dyslexia Institute of Indiana.
Available at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway or DIIN.org.
Some people are born lucky. Other people, well, they take luck into their own hands. The kind of people who go the opposite direction when they see a black cat approaching, avoid stepping on sidewalk cracks, and wouldn't dare walk under a ladder. But whether you were born with luck or make your own, there's one thing that will never change. When it comes to your insurance coverage, luck should have nothing to do with it. So talk to Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance today or visit them online at infarmbureau.com to purchase an auto policy. Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance. Stop knocking on wood.
I'm at the starting line of a Verizon IndyCar Series race with Mario Andretti, and things are about to get fast. Honda engineers some of the fastest cars in the world, and now you can win a ride in one. Visit racewithhonda.com for your shot to lead the start of a race in an IndyCar 2-seater with a racing legend like Mario Andretti. It's the fastest seat in sports!
No purchase necessary. End September 4, 2016, 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. Open to legal U.S. residents in the 50 U.S. and D.C., 18 and up. To enter and for rules, visit racewithhonda.com. Sponsor may substitute driver and at sole discretion. Multiple entry deadlines apply. Void where prohibited. Sponsored by American Honda Motor Company, Inc.
Hi, I'm Dr. David Whipperman, a member of the Johnson Memorial Team of Surgical Specialists. If you're over age 50, a routine colonoscopy is one of the most important preventive steps you can take for your health. Treatment of colorectal cancer in its early stages has dramatically higher success rates, so don't put it off. Appointments are available now, and the procedure is covered 100% by most insurance plans.
Visit them online and see how they do it at johnsonmemorial.org.
Qualification Day coverage on 93.5 and 1070 The Fan is brought to you by the Indiana Union Construction Industry. Value on display every day.
Michael Young has made his way back to Gasoline Alley. Michael, I think you have what is one of the good stories in terms of a driver competing or attempting to compete in the Indianapolis 500 this year.
Not only a great story, but a great guy driving the Driven to Save Lives KV Racing Technology number 25, Stephen Wilson, joins us in his garage area. First off, before we talk about this month and what it means to you, the Driven to Save Lives program, how that came together as a sponsor for you.
Yeah, so Driven to Save Lives is a program that Indiana Donor Network created, and it's designed to honor Justin and the act that he did as an organ donor last August. So yeah, it's a pretty special program for me and my family, and we're, at the same time we're just trying to honor Justin's legacy and potentially save more than 5 lives by trying to get 2,500 new registered donors, and potential effect that could have is pretty amazing.
It's really easy to do.
Yeah, if we can get people to visit driventosavelives.org. In 30 seconds, you can sign up to become an organ donor, and there's a lot of neat behind-the-scenes videos on there of the preparation that we've had for the month of May, and also some interesting stats and frequently asked questions on there that about organ donation that people can find out some more information on it.
Just unveiled your helmet earlier this week. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it's a split livery. It's got Justin's design, the synonymous yellow, green, and blue on the right side of my helmet, and then my usual design on the left side. So it's really important for me to be able to wear that helmet in memory of Justin, and it's in a way it's great to see those colors still circulating the track this month.
In the big cars, your first laps around this place, how daunting was it?
It's pretty daunting. There was a lot of anticipation on those first laps. a lot of questions in my mind. What's this going to be like? What's it going to be like to go 230 miles an hour? And, you know, we came down the front stretch for the first time, and I was just amazed how quickly I got from the pylon to turn one. And, you know, as the month goes on, you do more and more laps, and you just get more and more comfortable with those speeds. And just really excited to get qualified today and see where we end up tomorrow on the grid.
Well, they're checking the engine now, so we'll let you go. Best of luck in qualifying today.
Thanks so much.
Driver the number 25, KV Racing Technology, driven to save lives machine. That is Stephen Wilson. Let's go to Jake Query.
Bill Marotti 1 year ago was in the Nutmeg State. That's Connecticut, watching on television pole day. He decided he had a dream to own a car in the Indy 500. Your friend said, "You're nuts." Now here you are, partnering up with Sam Schmidt, getting Oriole Servia in that number 77 machine. What a year, what a ride.
It's been amazing, Jake. You know, I talked to my friends last year about it. The opinions went from you're out of your mind to why not you. So I kind of landed on the why not you side. But I do have to say, God's been really good. The Lord's opened up some great doors for us, very generous sponsors, the right people. Sam Schmidt's been a dream to work with. And here we are, the biggest race of all time.
And you know, when you think about it, you've got Oriole Servia in the car, who's been on the front row here before. He has 2 top 10 finishes. He's a veteran. And now it looks like the entire package is coming together. That Honda looks good.
Looks really good. You know, we chased it all week. We didn't quite have the right combination. Oriole wasn't comfortable. But when we came out yesterday, he hit a 230 early on. He was very comfortable. He came back later in the afternoon, 230 again, no toe. He's feeling really good about the car. Team's feeling really good about the car. I think we're going to have a big day today.
I want to talk about something else you have going on in addition to putting a car in the Indianapolis 500, and that is Thursday evening, I believe, at the Dallara factory right here on Main Street in Speedway. You're going to help out some veterans in this country.
Yeah, we love veterans, Jake. We think they're the biggest. We idolize racing car drivers and athletes, but veterans are our heroes. They put it all on the line for us. And so Thursday night, the 26th at 7:30, we're going to have a benefit concert at the Dallara factory. We're going to have Indy simulators up. We're going to have a mock-up of our car there for a photo opportunity. We're going to have a great auction with some outdoor, really cool outdoor, a hunt, a Henry rifle, some other things. Of course, there'll be some stuff for ladies as well. And tickets are only $40, and the proceeds are going to be given to the Fisher House, which is a remarkable charity, very transparent, very, very, very well respected. They help veterans' families with housing and scholarships, and they also take kind of a cool program. They take unused frequent flyer miles, and they'll transport veterans and their families from where they have to go for VA service within the United States. So that's Thursday, night before Carb Day, 7:30 at the Dallara factory. Got to give a shout out to Indy West Harley Davidson is our sponsor. We'll have Harleys all across the front of Dallara, Harleys inside. It's going to be a great night.
$40 tickets, MarottiRacing.com. Tickets in advance, $49 on day of. You know, I don't know if you should switch to caffeinated coffee. You need more energy.
Well, I got to tell you, it's hard. It's hard to articulate what it's like living out the dream of your lifetime. I just hope I don't lose the boyhood wonderment.
I'll tell you what, a year ago he thought about putting a car in the show, and now, guys, let's face it, Mark, you got Oriole Servia, and as Davey talked about, you got that Honda package. They found the speed and the sweet spot on that machine. Oriole Servia wants to put in 4 good laps and perhaps get himself a chance to shoot for that top 9 tomorrow.
Donald Davidson, of course, we'll hear more stories throughout the course of this weekend about all of the things being done for the men and women of our armed services. Let's go back to the very beginning, 1911. Was the connection to the military and the respects paid to the military and the tie-in almost immediate with the Indianapolis 500?
Oh, yes. That's where the military bomb comes from to open the place. In fact, they used to run bombs would explode throughout the morning. That was the opening bomb, and then I think it was every hour, and then they went to a half hour and 15 minutes the closer you got. And the reason was that from the time the track opened, before they even knew they were going to have a 500, from 1909 until 1947, the place was policed by the Indiana National Guard. And it wasn't until 1948 that the Safety Patrol was formed, which now has transitioned into what we call the Yellow Shirts. But that military was always there. The starting bomb remains. In 1919, the first race after the war was known as the Liberty Sweepstakes, and there's always been a strong military presence here. Armed Forces Day has been going for years. When the new museum opened in 1976, and the admission was $1, Tony Holman said, if anybody shows up in military uniform, let them in for nothing.
Well, and Donald, let's face it, one of the politicians, of course, a longtime U.S. Senator, former mayor of the city of Indianapolis, Richard Lugar, had a long and storied connection to Armed Forces Day here at the Speedway.
I thought that was astonishing because I think for something like 31 years in a row, he was here. With all that was going on in Washington, he never sent a representative. He always came himself, and I thought that was truly remarkable.
Well, again, we'll get set to go qualifying at 2:20 Eastern this afternoon, and it will be a frenzied pace for sure. For now, practice is completed here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Alexander Rossi, P1 at 231.249 miles per hour.
State leaders are calling for expansion of educational paths outside the traditional college model to help move Indiana forward. The Indiana union construction industry has been the leader in apprenticeship and vocational training for over 100 years. In partnership with contractors, our industry makes an investment of more than $42 million a year in training with no cost to taxpayers. Through on-the-job training and classroom instruction, our tradesmen and women learn skills and earn degrees, making them the skilled, drug-free workforce employers count on. And the best value for your next construction project. The Indiana Union Construction Industry. Value on display every day.
Hi, I am Ralph Copley of the Indiana Ironworkers Local 22. When you see the new buildings going up around you, they begin with a foundation and a structure. Our members are the people who build the backbone of most of the new buildings you see today. Indiana Ironworkers Local 22, skilled on principle, union by choice.
Justin Wilson was an inspiration on and off the track.
Indianapolis 500 winner, driver of the number 9 Target car, Scott Dixon, and Justin's brother, Indycar driver Stephen Wilson.
Justin made an impact as father, husband, brother, and friend.
He created his legacy as a racer, dyslexia advocate, and entrepreneur.
To remember Justin and continue his message, the company he founded, U-Swag Performance Socks, created a special edition sock in his honor.
The commemorative sock sports the British flag and Justin's helmet colors, and proceeds benefit the smart, hardworking students of the Dyslexia Institute of Indiana.
Justin Wilson-inspired socks are available at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and DIIN.org. That's DIIN.org.
Join us and celebrate Justin's life with a commemorative sock and a gift to the students at the Dyslexia Institute of Indiana.
The Dyslexia Institute of Indiana would like to thank the students, parents, and community members who make dyslexia education and training possible. Go to DIIN.org to buy your pair of Justin Wilson commemorative socks.
I'm at the starting line of a Verizon Indycar Series race with Mario Andretti, and things are about to get fast. Honda engineers some of the fastest cars in the world, and now you can win a ride in one. Visit racewithhonda.com for your shot to lead the start of a race in an Indycar two-seater with a racing legend like Mario Andretti. It's the fastest seat in sports!
No purchase necessary. End September 4, 2016, 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. Open to legal U.S. residents in the 50 U.S. and D.C., 18 and up. To enter in for rules, visit racewithhonda.com. Sponsor may substitute driver and at sole discretion. Multiple entry deadlines apply. Void where prohibited. Sponsored by American Honda Motor Company, Inc.
If it's speed that gets your juices flowing, then Anderson Speedway is the place to be. Wednesday, May 25th, the fastest cars on asphalt take to the high banks as the wing sprints of the must-see Racing Extreme Sprint Series burn the pavement, along with Bell Canyon Midgets and Thunder Roadsters. Ticket info for the IV Tech 60 presented by Sam Pierce Chevrolet is available at AndersonSpeedway.com. Advance tickets only $10. Get yours now for the 68th running of the Payless Little 500 presented by UAW GM. Saturday, May 28th at Anderson Speedway.
The revolutionary safety of the Michelin Premier family of tires is now available for more cars, trucks, minivans, and SUVs. So whatever you drive, you can take on wet or slippery roads with confidence, mile after mile. The Michelin Premier family of tires, safe when new, safe when worn. Stop by Big O Tires in the Indianapolis area, and our experts will make sure you have the tires designed for a luxurious ride and confident control of the road. The team you trust. Safe refers to wet braking, wet handling, and hydroplaning resistance when tires are new and worn to 5/32 of an inch.
If it's speed that gets your juices flowing, then Anderson Speedway is the place to be. Wednesday, May 25th, the fastest cars on asphalt take to the high banks as the wing sprints of the must-see Racing Extreme Sprint Series burn the pavement, along with Bell Canyon Midgets and Thunder Roadsters. Ticket info for the IV Tech 60 presented by Sam Pierce Chevrolet is available at AndersonSpeedway.com. Advance tickets only $10. Get yours now for the 68th running of the Payless Little 500 presented by UAW GM. Saturday, May 28th at Anderson Speedway.
The revolutionary safety of the Michelin Premier family of tires is now available for more cars, trucks, minivans, and SUVs. So whatever you drive, you can take on wet or slippery roads with confidence, mile after mile. The Michelin Premier family of tires, safe when new, safe when worn. Stop by Big O Tires in the Indianapolis area, and our experts will make sure you have the tires designed for a luxurious ride and confident control of the road. The team you trust. Safe refers to wet braking, wet handling, and hydroplaning resistance when tires are new and worn to 5/32 of an inch.
This is Bill Estes with Tony Kanaan. Tony, you're about to run the 100th Indy 500, and we need to celebrate.
How about everyone gets up to $3,300 more for their trades this May? Get it? $3,300 more.
I get it, Tony. And we have over 500 used cars and trucks at BillEstes.com. 500. Get it, Tony?
$3,300 more for your trade. Over 500 cars and trucks for just $3,995 at BillEstes.com.
Now that's a better way to celebrate.
And Bill, we will be open on Memorial Day.
Did you win the 500? Because you're getting a little bossy.
Let Andrea's Garden Center freshen your landscape with 10% off Greendale mulch. You can trust Andrea's for quality products. Andrea's Garden Center, easy to find at 65th and Binford.
Qualification Day coverage on 93.5 and 1070 The Fan is brought to you by the Indiana Union Construction Industry. Value on display every day.
Mark James back at the world's greatest race course, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The calm before the qualifying storm, if you will. We want to welcome in the chairman of the 100th Host Committee, Mike Harmless, to the broadcast booth. And Mike, again, congratulations. We visited a week ago during the Angie's List Grand Prix of Indianapolis, and a job well done by the 100th Host Committee. But for those that weren't with us or who may not know, just getting into the area, talk about how the 100th Host Committee was born and what it was charged with.
Well, the Host Committee, Mark, was a combination of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, obviously the Holman George family, the 500 Festival, and then the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum. So those three organizations came together and then charged the Host Committee with making sure that we made the 100th running a wonderful celebration. So then Donald Davidson was on the team with me in statewide engagement, and we were charged with going out to all 92 counties and having a meaningful event and making sure that this truly is an Indiana celebration, not just an Indianapolis celebration. And we're very happy that we were able to accomplish that.
92 counties in this great state, and you saw them all, huh?
We, Donald and I, we had a team. Donald and I were probably in, I don't know, Donald, 60.
I was going to say, I failed if we were supposed to do to 92, because I think I only went to 71.
Oh, yeah, is that all, Donald? You slacker?
He's a slacker. But then we had Levi Jones and with USAC and Cindy Hoy. They did the statewide racing community, so we're going to end up being at 15 short tracks, including Eldora over in Ohio, which we had 2 great races over there. And then we've got university engagement. We've got Joe Rust and his team. We're at 15 colleges and universities. So we had just a wonderful, wonderful outreach, and we're very proud of what we accomplished.
I'm guessing that you weren't starved for volunteers. I guess the difficult task would be putting them all to work.
Yeah, I mean, we, as again, what a joy I had as being Donald Davidson's personal driver for about 90 days. And we offered that up to other folks that are big race fans that wanted to be with Donald and travel to LaPorte like Chris Jensen did, and Marla Flowers drove him down to Boonville, and so we had some wonderful, wonderful times, and everybody just had a great time. So,
did it? I'm guessing it did not surprise you how well this was received. Again, there was a long line of communities and organizations that wanted to be involved, that wanted an event. And for those naysayers that might say that maybe the Indianapolis 500 isn't what it used to be, you can kind of correct them and reassure them that the belief and the enthusiasm is a heartbeat that beats strong.
There is no question. I think that, again, when we have the opportunity to take the Indianapolis Motor Speedway historian out to these communities, we had wonderful, wonderful events. The ones that I'll talk about just briefly is Zionsville. We had our 92nd event, 92nd County in Zionsville at the Public Library. Donald, we had what, 120 people?
Yes, at least.
It was absolutely unbelievable. And Tony George came up to be with us, and Lauren. When Tony George walked into the library and was recognized, it was a standing ovation.
That's great.
And, you know, so I know that race fans are out there. I think all we were charged with doing was getting out there and engaging them. And Donald did that every day, everywhere we traveled, and I was glad to be his chauffeur and personal valet.
So, Donald, I'll ask you, and forgive the question, but did anyone share anything with you about this place or a driver that you previously did not know? I can't imagine what it would be, but did you glean anything from this visit?
Oh, yes. Well, actually, you know, several things. I think everywhere we went, there were fans. It didn't matter if it was LaPorte or New Harmony or Aurora. There were race fans. And then the other thing, too, that was a joy was the number of mayors that were race fans since boyhood. But we did have, we had participants' relatives. We had the granddaughter of a riding mechanic from 1912.
Exactly.
Ray Fowler, who was in the 1912 race. She was there. And then we had Gene Hartley's widow. She came to Fort Wayne. She lives in Roanoke and visited us there. As far as learning something that I didn't know, I think probably a real joy was we went to Jasper and we took Spike Gelhausen, who's from there. Well, his mother lives down there and his sister. But anyway, we did a one-on-one with him, and he was absolutely fantastic. The crowd were just on the edge of their seat because we wanted the question that really got them was when he talked about what it's like to start on the last row, and I really enjoy doing that with drivers because they give you a perspective that you'd never believe. And I knew about the buffeting and that your eye's smart and all of those things, and you're in a tornado. Stefano Colati told me last year, he said there was so much noise from the wind I couldn't even hear the engine with all of the distant air currents going through the cockpit. Anyway, Spike said that when he started in the back, it was like the sky turned dark because of all the debris and stuff that was in the air. And I thought, what insight that the only people that can describe that are the ones that have done it. And I really enjoyed that with Spike.
It was spectacular.
Yeah.
That was one of our very best events.
So again, a tall task for sure. But you know, in all my years doing radio news in Western Indiana, it doesn't surprise me that this thing was pulled off so well because. Mike Harmless, I remember your days as mayor of Greencastle and all the economic success that you had there. And after that, between then and now, just kind of update the people on all of the things that have been of a tremendous success, especially here in Central Indiana, that you've involved yourself in.
Well, I think one of the ones that I'm most proud of is that when Bart Peterson got elected mayor of Indianapolis, the old mayor's breakfast didn't exist. It had gone away under the Goldsmith administration. And then I encouraged Bart to bring it back because it's such a spectacular event. And so then I ended up co-chairing that with Bob Jenkins, working with Tony Meyer and the gang over at the 500 Festival. And so today, Donald and I were there for the 16th since it's been back. And they celebrated Bob Jenkins' career. Ari Lyondike was there and got just such a warm welcome. Mary Holman George was there representing the family. The 500 Festival it was sold out again this year, and then they recognized Donald and me for our 92 counties, and we were both surprised and absolutely humbled. We were glad to have been able to help the celebration of the 100th running and take it to all 92 counties.
And the numbers of mayors that were there.
80.
He said 80 mayors that are current. But they also had some former mayors were there. So we figured there was probably 95 to 100 people who could say, I either am or have been a mayor.
And the governor was there. The lieutenant governor was there. It was a big crowd. Great event.
Well, lastly, Mike Harmless, our guest, before we let you go, there's another host committee member who is just to your left. And you've known her for 44 years.
Absolutely.
Introduce the folks to your lovely bride, if you will.
Okay. Well, my wife Susie is the host of, is the chair of Hoosier Hospitality. So she's going to have the small task of doing airport welcome, hotel welcome, VIP welcome, veteran welcome. So she is going to be awfully busy. So just as Donald and I have been together a lot, I don't think I'm going to see much of my wife for the next 10 days.
But what I've been saying is that
actually, you missed one thing. We're going to welcome a lot of people on race day.
Sweet.
As well.
over the last probably 2.5, 3 months, he spent more time with me than he did with her.
I heard her thank you for that, in
Absolutely.
fact. Yeah, so, well, thank you all for what you've done. On behalf of all of us connected with this marvelous event, congratulations on a job well done. We know you're not done, but at some point, we hope that you pause and reflect on the incredible contribution that you made to the 100th running, and congratulations to you for your efforts.
Great. Thanks, Mark.
Yep, that's Mike Harmless, 100th Host Committee Chairman, and, of course, the historian of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Donald Davidson. We have some pit reporters back in the garage area, still lining up drivers, talking to guys who are getting ready to qualify. Jake Query has Sage Karam. Jake?
Sage Karam, I think, is enjoying lunch at the moment. As a matter of fact, he's talking with Davey Hamilton, which we've been doing for most of the morning. But, Sage, I hate to interrupt your burger here. You go out 29th, so obviously you've got a little bit of time. Is that going to be advantage or disadvantage with the track conditions?
Yeah, I think it's going to be an advantage because there's no rubber on the track right now, and you know, these guys are going to put some rubber down, and then I get to see, you know, what these guys do as times and also downforce levels. All the Chevy guys, I get to, you know, see what those cars are running. I don't know. I think this first run for me is just going to be out there to throw in a time, and then the rest of the day is going to turn to a practice, and maybe at the end try and go one more time. But it's going to be tough. The cars this morning were so bad. I think everybody's all across the board were just awful. I don't think anybody can do more than 1 or 2 laps right now. I had to completely lift off the throttle, downshift twice in turn one, nearly 3 or 4 laps in a row, or else it would have been ugly. So we'll see. You know, we're going to make some changes here, get some more front aerodynamics in the thing, and get the rear end a little bit looser, and hopefully the thing will go.
I'm an energy drink aficionado. You've got a good one to help you go fast, don't you?
Yeah, no, we do. We got Gas Monkey Energy on board this year, and I had one of those yesterday before I got in the car, and I think I'm going to have a couple more of those before I get in there for qualifying so I can get up on that wheel.
We'll let you get back to lunch. I appreciate the time.
Yep, thanks.
Sage Karam, guys, and indeed, he did hook me up with an energy drink. I got to be happy about that, Mark. You know what warms my heart.
As we approach the top of the hour, Nick Gilman joins us, and Nick, boy, a lot of hurry up and wait for you guys this morning. You and the drivers and the teams, huh?
Yeah, that wasn't probably the most fun situation for anyone involved, but it's the reality. And I'll tell you what, you got to tip your cap to all the race fans that have stuck it out. The good news is that the weather now is absolutely spectacular. It feels great down there. Kevin Lee and I both took jackets down there for that first hour and a half, and by the end of it, we were both ready to ditch them because it has warmed up. The sun's out, the rain clouds are out of the area, and the track, as we've talked about, is finally dry. And for some of these drivers, they got an opportunity to go out there, turn some laps. As Sage Karam described it, it was a little sketchy for some drivers, including Max Chilton, who was really the only driver to have an incident. But thankfully, Mark, we're starting to see drivers and teams lined up in the tech line, and we are going to go qualifying a little bit later today.
Anything you can glean from the body language or the interview from young Max Chilton, who made his first visit to the outside retaining wall, the only incident we've had on the day so far?
Yeah, I didn't get the sense that he was startled at all. I did want to ask him because, as he mentioned, not a lot of oval experience, but he is still a very experienced race car driver with a couple years that he spent in Formula One, but he didn't hide the fact that that's the biggest hit that he's had, and whether you're a confident driver or not, Mark, rookie or veteran, when you visit the Turn 2 wall at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and Max isn't the first and certainly won't be the last, that's going to stick with you, especially with the fact that he is expected to get back in the car and probably try to qualify later today. The damage, I saw that car pulled into the Gasoline Alley garages. There was a lot of heavy damage, so the good news for Max is with just 33 cars, he's going to make the race. But, boy, that's a hit to the confidence for sure for a young man that's been having a pretty good month.
Is there another scenario in any other sport in which someone is forced to have a long memory and a short memory at the same time?
It's pretty amazing because in many ways you have to make changes right away. You have to be able to tell the crew the way that car was feeling, diagnose why you lost the rear end of that race car. But at the same time, as you said, if you let those type of things linger in your mind, you'll be one of those guys that hangs around in 27th all day long on Sunday, and you don't have a chance. And Max is a guy with a great team, great equipment. And here's the thing, Mark. If I'm Max Chilton, I go talk to Tony Kanaan, I go talk to Scott Dixon, I go talk to Charlie Kimball. All three of those guys, two of them have won this race. You ask them about how they got over it, and certainly all of those drivers have visited the wall here at Indianapolis. They all know what it's like, and they've all bounced back to have solid finishes or wins. So I'm not worried about Max Chilton at all, but certainly that's a lot to overcome as a rookie at Indianapolis.
There's a three-time winner in that stable. That's a pretty good thing to have in your Rolodex. Talking about Dario Franchitti.
Yeah, and Dario has been a guy that's been on the pit box for Max for a lot of this season, and I know Dario has been awfully impressed with Max Chilton as a driver, the type of information that he relays to and from the team. Again, he is a rookie in IndyCar only. This is a young man that has spent a better part of 2 or 3 seasons running in Formula One, so he has competed at an extremely high level. We saw him a year ago, Mark, in Indy Lights, where he impressed. Won his one and only race at Iowa Speedway, the little bull ring there in Newton, Iowa. So I think that's when we all opened our eyes and said, yeah, this young man can certainly handle it. And it's going to be a lot to bounce back from, but he'll be a guy that can do it for sure.
Well, there's no question. But we are just crazy with anticipation, getting ready at 20 minutes past the hour to go qualifying for the 100th running of the Indianapolis 500.
On race day, every driver in the Indianapolis 500 will be speeding towards one goal: to meet 2 Indiana dairy farmers at the end of the race, because they'll be holding the key ingredient to the most iconic celebration in all of sports, the Victory Circle bottle of milk. 3-time winner Louis Meyer launched the tradition in the 1930s when he took the checkered flag and asked for a bottle of his favorite beverage, buttermilk. Many years, thousands of miles, and gallons of milk later, the beloved tradition continues. Pure, ice-cold goodness worth the drive year after year. Winners drink milk.
Celebrate the 100th Indy 500 and join American Dairy Association Indiana for the world's largest milk toast. 100,000 pints of milk will be distributed to fans at the track. And for fans listening at home, pick up the specially branded 100th anniversary milk pints at select retailers so that you too can join in. So when the checkered flag falls, raise your bottle of milk alongside the Indy 500 champion.
Hey, it's Big Joe, and as you're racing around this month, make a pit stop at Tom Roush Mazda. Check out the huge selection available at Indiana's largest Mazda dealer, like brand new Mazda 3 starting at just $119 a month. Mazda 6 is $129 a month, CX-5 is $159 a month, and summer is a ton more fun in a Mazda Miata. Plus, 0% financing is available on purchases, and Tom Roush has a great selection of used cars, too. They're pussycats on price at Tom Roush Mazda, 169th Street and US 31 in Westfield.
Dan Dockage here. May is Maytag month at H.H. Gregg. Big savings all month on Maytag kitchen and laundry appliances with up to a $750 prepaid card. Plus, H.H. Gregg and Maytag are counting down to the Indy 500. They're giving away 33 washer and dryer pairs in 33 days. Go to MaytagSalutes.com to nominate everyday heroes to win a Maytag washer dryer pair or individual appliance with the Maytag Salutes sweepstakes. Visit HHGregg.com for more info and official rules.
This is Indy Sports Center, 93.5 and 1070 The Fan, WFNI, W228CX, Indianapolis.
Back at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Nick Yeoman here alongside with Kevin Lee, Speedway historian Donald Davidson. A couple of talented pit reporters down on pit lane as well with Jake Query and Michael Young as we continue to get ready to go qualifying for the 100th Indianapolis 500. Some of those drivers and teams already making their way out to the tech line. One of those drivers, a defending winner of the race, that is Scott Dixon, and Michael Young. He will once again have a very talented strategist atop that pit box.
Yeah, managing director of Ganassi Racing, Mike Hull, joins us, and obviously one of the drivers in your stable had an incident in turn 2, and we were talking before we came back from break just about the conditions and how false a sense of security you have going down into 1.
Well, I think today is a day when probably greed is not your friend. I think you get a big run out of 4 on a day like today with the wind and the conditions of the racetrack, and then it really drives you hard down into turn 1, and then you find out that you're only human. This morning the racetrack was a chore, to be honest about it, and I think everybody will create some correction with their setups, and you know, IndyCar is going to have us run till 7 o'clock. So I think there'll be some reruns, and by the time a couple of 3 of those reruns happen, I think it'll be exciting.
Talk about this Fast 9. Let's say you're 10th, 11th, 12th, if one of your drivers are there. Do you roll the dice? Is that something to make that 9 to reset the bar for tomorrow with the different weather conditions we'll obviously have?
Well, I think the left lane is Las Vegas. You know, the right lane is a bit conservative, or, yeah, maybe I'll go again lane, you know. But I think the right lane will get clogged up at some point, and people that are on the edge will probably withdraw time and go down the left side. That's why they call this place Saturday Excitement.
The Hondas talking about how much they were down on power and competition compared to the Chevrolets. They've proven themselves to be very quick this month of May. Are you surprised?
Well, we need that. We've been waiting for that to happen. So the anticipation of that has been with all the teams that race Indy cars for quite a while. It should be equal competition by both sides, in this case Chevrolet and Honda. So we're excited to see Honda where they are.
Jay Fry, the director of competition, president of competition for IndyCar, talked about maybe getting away from the Spec Series 2017-2018. You were one of the proponents of that. Thoughts and reasonings behind that?
I think just I think IndyCar has a big opportunity, maybe globally. They can make a statement about what racing should be for open-wheel race cars if they want to, and if they can see their way clear to put tunnels on the car and get rid of topside downforce, then we can put the drivers' hands back on the steering wheel the way they should be. There's, I think, a few other things they probably should do. They need to increase the braking zones, and they need to do some other things like that to help improve the racing on the road tracks or street tracks. But yeah, we're in favor of making the racing better.
First and foremost, the one thing, if you could have it changed tomorrow, what would it be?
I'd put a tunnel on the car and put wings like we ran 10 years ago on the race cars, and I'd put cast iron brakes back on the cars to increase the braking zones.
Best of luck today.
Hey, thanks. Let's have some fun today.
Oh, it's going to be Managing Director of Chip Ganassi Racing. Always a pleasure to speak with him. Mike Hull, Nick Yeoman.
Appreciate that very much, Michael Young. We are about 10 to 15 minutes away from seeing the first car roll out on the racetrack. That will be Tony Kanaan to start qualifying. Again, about 10 to 15 minutes away. 10 to 15 minutes is not probably the amount of time you should take to try to get to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on the morning of the Indianapolis 500. Happy to be joined by Lieutenant Trent Theobald from the Speedway Police Department, the Public Information Officer. Again, this is, I know for your department, you guys have been working on this for a long, long time. What are you guys instructing people that are going to be coming to Speedway here in about a week in terms of how far and how much time they need to take to get to the Speedway?
Well, first and foremost, we want to make sure everyone knows, get here early. We're looking at record-breaking crowds we haven't seen for many, many years. So we want to make sure that on your safe travels as you're coming to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, get an early start and be patient with traffic and make sure that you are getting your parking ready to go before you show up to the Speedway area and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
This effort, I know it takes a lot of people in your department to make sure to pull off an effort like this. Tell us about how many people you'll have working just on race day alone in terms of making sure that everybody's able to get around the city of Speedway safely.
Well, with the public safety effort that we have here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, it is obviously a cooperative effort of law enforcement and public safety. You have so many different agencies that take part between the Speedway Police Department, Indiana State Police, Indianapolis Metropolitan Police, and the Marion County Sheriff's Office. And that's just the law enforcement, not including our federal friends that will also be out here assisting that day. And then you take into consideration all the other public safety needs that to have such a large event that you'll need to be in-house to make sure that we can ensure the safest event we possibly can.
Lieutenant Trent Theobald from the Speedway Police Department joins us here on the 9th floor of the Pagoda as qualifying coverage continues here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I know that you have to work hand in hand with the residents because on race weekends, this city really comes alive. With so many parking locations already filled up, I'm sure for a lot of fans that make their way out to the raceway, they're going to be parking in the neighborhoods around Speedway. What have you instructed in terms of residents about how everything can work together smoothly?
Yeah, one of the things about if you're parking in the town of Speedway, the neighborhoods, make sure you're looking at signage on the streets. There's a lot of streets, especially the north and south streets, north of Crawfordsville, there's parking restrictions. So we want to make sure that you understand that even though you might be going down a street and it's wide open, that doesn't give you the right to park there. Look for the signs. We want to make sure, especially for a lot of our first-time visitors that are coming, we don't want to have one of those moments where we have to write citations and tow cars. So there is parking within the town of Speedway. So again, kind of get ahead of the game, make sure you're doing your research and look for something that you know that you can park and be safe and not have to worry about parking somewhere that's restricted. We want to make sure as you're visiting the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the town of Speedway that it's an enjoyable experience, and that's the last thing that we'd like to do. So making sure that any of our visitors that will be traveling here, make sure that get a hold of some parking areas in the town. There's people that will let you park in their yards. Make sure that they're actually taking people in your yard. Don't park in their yards without permission, but there's a lot of also public parking that they'll be charging, but make sure that you make sure it's going to be okay to be there.
Final thing I want to ask you, and I imagine this probably has to be, I don't want to call it the biggest headache, but maybe the biggest challenge. Of course, on race morning, fans and working media and everyone's going to trickle in at different times. But when the checkered flag flies, just about everybody flies out of here at the same exact time. How big of a challenge is it to get 300,000 plus people out of here and on their way home safely?
Yeah, that is always a challenge. It's something that I could tell you from year into year. You know, when you're trying to push this much traffic out of one location, it's going to take a lot of time. It's not something that happens awfully quick. Just make sure that as you're leaving here, follow the traffic direction between all the police agencies that assist us. Again, goes back to that cooperative effort of law enforcement between the Sheriff's Office, IMPD, State Police, and ourselves. You'll see a lot of traffic direction. There's a traffic flow. It's a traffic pattern that's been in effect for many, many years. It's going to take you where you need to go. So even if it's not going left and when you need to go right, just make sure you follow that flow. You will end up where you need to be at some point. Be patient. Understand that these officers are going to be out there directing traffic, so pay attention. And again, the most important thing that we want to tell you as you're leaving the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, please don't drink and drive. If you've had too much to drink, try to find somebody that will be able to drive your vehicle safely.
Yeah, very wise words. Lieutenant Trent Theobald from the Speedway Police Department, appreciate you coming up. All the work that you guys do along with local authorities, Indiana State Police, all the volunteers here at the Speedway, it is greatly appreciated, and I have no doubts that this thing's going to go off without a hitch on Sunday.
We're excited. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Again, Lieutenant Trent Theobald from the Speedway Police Department. Kevin Lee joins us here in the booth. Kevin, you've been kind of monitoring what we've seen down there in the tech line, starting to see some movement as we are moments away from going qualifying.
It's just about go time. Tony Kanaan is first in line. He is getting suited up, putting the helmet on, and he is a mere moments away. He's walking over to the cockpit now, about to climb in, and Kanaan will be first out, and the first few minutes are going to be interesting because we have some fast guys going. Simon Pagenaud and his bright yellow Menards car is second in line, and then it's some of the Andrettis. They've been the fastest so far. Marco Andretti and Alexander Rossi are third and fourth in line. It's about to find out what we have.
The engines may be different on these race cars, some going with Chevrolets, some with Hondas, the different aero kit pieces, those always differ. But one thing is certainly true, Michael Young, all 33 that qualify and race next weekend are going to be on those familiar Firestone tires once again.
Manager of Motorsports for Firestone Racing, Lisa Boggs, joins us. I just always get fascinated when I walk into the Firestone garage, the stacks of these fantastic Firestone tires. But the sidewalls this year, this very special 100th running scheme. Tell us about it.
Yes, what we decided to do to really celebrate this most epic race and iconic moment, it was really that one-time chance to go ahead and celebrate our history here. So what we've done is we've designed a sidewall that lists the 51 drivers who have contributed to our 66 wins here at the Speedway.
Truly amazing when you look at the sidewalls of these tires. It's something that I've probably should have noticed over these years and had not noticed up to this point. The Firestone moniker, the F Firestone badge, is white on one tire, red on another. The reason being?
The reason being we want to make sure it's clear in that big moment of everything going so quick. Everyone remembers what is your left side tire that's white and your right side tires, and those are in red.
See, I still put the L on my left hand and the R on my right hand so I know when somebody tells me to do something.
Well, yeah, it's a little like putting the green and go on one foot, the brake and the stop on the other.
Hinch needs that help every now and then. As a matter of fact, he's kept those on his racing shoes. The history of this wonderful company at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Truly, as race fans, we looked forward to this race, but as a company, you guys have looked forward to this event as well.
Oh, absolutely. We have been planning for this event for the last couple of years. We've got more than 1,400 guests coming globally. We've got dealers and VIPs and our teammates. Everyone is really coming out to celebrate this moment and this time in a very special shared history. It's really nothing like it in sports marketing. There's really nothing like it in the world of sports in general. So to celebrate the 100th running of this event is an amazing opportunity for us, and we're just really proud to be part of it.
Without counting them individually, how many tires will you guys be running this month of May?
Well, actually, we do count them individually via barcodes. However, to make it easier, we've got about 5,000 tires that we will go through for the Indy 500. Each team gets 36 sets of tires, and they are theirs to manage throughout the practice, qualifying, and the race.
Best in the biz. Enjoy this month of May.
You got it. Thank you so much.
Manager of Motorsports for Firestone Racing, that's Lisa Boggs. Jake Query.
Quick math here, and 36 times 4 times 33 teams is 4,752 tires. Just so you know, Mike. By the way, Brian Herta is a guy who has been very loyal over the years to Honda. When I think about Honda, I think about Brian Herta, and Brian Herta Autosport obviously now partnering up with